Since China is the world's most populous country, that has led it to be the largest energy consumer and producer energy in the world. The majority of China's total energy consumption was from the coal. The second largest source was the petroleum, and the hydroelectricity, gas, and renewable and nuclear accounted for a relatively small part of China's energy consumption. So the reason why China is having the coal as the main source for the country's energy consumption is that China has abundant coal resources. The distribution area of the coal resources is about 60 million square kilometers that account for 6% of China's land area. China has a huge potential in the coal resources and it ranks number 1 in the world. Chinese government believes that because China has the feature of more coal, less oil, and less natural gas, so the energy structure will still dominated by coal in the future. However, as a high coal consumption, China is also the world's leading energy-related CO2 emitter, so I think Chinese government needs to improve that. About 75% of the oil resources are concentrated in the Eastern Hemisphere, most of which can be exploited. Oil reserves are in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and other places. Although China has abundant oil reserves, it still needs a large number of imports every year. The Chinese government hope that with the technological advances and expand the area of use, the total amount of oil exploration is accepted to be increased significantly to some extent. The amount of water resources reserves in China has been ranked the world's top position. I think that with the world's growing energy shortage, use the water resources sufficiently while protect the environment and achieve sustainable development is the important choice for Chinese hydropower construction. And with the slowly China gas fields continue to be improved, China's natural gas reserves has entered a rapid growth since 2000. And also China's renewable resources are from solar, geothermal, hydro, wind, and biomass. China's lack of nuclear resources due to the lack of uranium. And compared with China, Canada is one of the world's largest energy producers with abundant and varied natural resources. Due to that reason, Canada's large biocapacity support the country's ecological footprint sufficiently. And compared with China, Canada has lack resources in the coal. Apparently, it's about only 6%, but Canada has a great amount of oil, hydroelectricity, and gas resources. And those three resources are the principal energy consumption in Canada. It accounts for 85% for the total energy consumption in Canada. So the reason why Canada and China are having such difference in the country's energy mix is mainly because of the landscape. So geothermally, Canada has abundant natural resources, especially in the mineral resources that occupies an important position in the world. There are a lot of mineable oil sands resources in Western Canada, which makes Canada the second largest oil reserves, like Saudi Arabia after the Saudi Arabia. Canada has prolific freshwater resources. The Great Lake region that shared with the United States is the world's largest group of freshwater lake. The freshwater reserves accounted for 20% of Earth's total freshwater reserves. Canada fully utilized the hydroelectric power for the development of the country. But however, in addition to the Eastern Chinese coastal line and the eastern plains, most of the land in western area is the desert and basin, which are not suitable for farming and housing. China's coal reserves are large to about 600 billion tons, but the per capita reserves are low. This is because China's large population. In order to increase China's oil reserves, researchers predict that the future growth of China's oil reserves will be in the west part and under the sea. Although the water resources in China are plentiful, it is less than in Canada due to the large population. Overall, China has a large land area and rich in resources, but because of the large population, so when it accounted for per capita, the resources per capita would be very little. And the strategies for Chinese government can use is the family planning and raising people's environmental awareness. Having a large population is not a bad thing. The most important thing is that the government should rationally and effectively manage the population. Today, the Chinese government has already implemented the family planning policy. So, like one family can only have one child, which effectively reduced Chinese birth rate. The government should also promote conservation of resources, giving priority to conservation and use the natural resources efficiently. Most importantly, for efforts to improve the ecological environment that has been already polluted. For example, the serious soil erosion and the unreasonable mineral resources development and others. The government should also be introduced some laws in order to punish those who don't follow the rules. Canada has a large land area and less population, so Canada is a sustainable country. Some strategies that can be promoted for the future are the ozone layer protection, biodiversity protection, and reduced greenhouse gases emission. Since Canada is having a large biocapacity, so as long as the Environment Protection Department has a proper management for the natural resources, Canada will always goes on with the sustainable development.